The reason you feel stuck isn't because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you're trying to become the wrong version of yourself. For me, I felt like I never quite measured up, as if I was always missing something. And so I chased and chased pleasure and possessions and prestige, all trying to feel complete, and yet I never did. You were never meant to become someone else, though. You were meant to return to who you already are in God. Let me show you something. This is how you were created. Whole and good and complete. Genesis 1 says, God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. You see, from the very beginning, you weren't created lacking. You were created in union with God, walking with him and talking with him, fully alive and fully known by him. There was nothing to prove, nothing to protect, nothing to perform, just presence. But then the fall happens, and the circle breaks. Sin enters the world. But sin is more than just doing something wrong. Augustine of Hippo described it with this Latin phrase, incurvatus in se, and everything sounds cooler in Latin. But it means curved in on oneself, curved in on oneself. Instead of living open to God, we turned inward. And this is where the false self begins. Not as something evil, but as something protective. It's the identity you constructed to survive life without resting in God, because you could no longer feel his presence. You were doing the best you could to simply hold yourself together. And so the false self isn't just sin, it's the version of you that believes you have to become someone else to be okay. It forms early and quietly, almost invisibly, to gain approval, to avoid rejection, to feel safe, to feel significant. And it starts to whisper, if I perform, I'll be loved. If I stay in control, I won't get hurt. If I'm needed, I won't be abandoned. And over time, you stop realizing it's a voice. You just think it's you. For me, it was this drive to be unique. And again, I always felt like there was something missing in me. And so I was always searching for that thing that would make me special, that thing that would give me worth. So in sports and games, I was super competitive, always trying to be the best. School and career, priding myself in how smart I was and always having to perform. And maybe the most destructive of all, even in the church, never being satisfied. Because you see, here's where it gets even more subtle. The false self doesn't just disappear when you come to God. It just gets religious. It prays to be seen as spiritual. It serves to feel worthy. It performs for God instead of resting in him. And so Christianity at its heart is not a religion, it's about a relationship with the creator of the universe. It's knowing and being known by God. And yet how can you ever get there if you're only ever operating out of your false self? Because at its core, the false self is just an illusion. Thomas Merton writes in New Seeds of Contemplation, I use up my life in the desire for pleasures and the thirst for experiences, for power, honor, knowledge, and love, to clothe this false self and construct its nothingness into something objectively real. And I wind experiences around myself and cover myself with pleasures and glory, like bandages in order to make myself perceptible to myself and to the world, as if I were an invisible body that could only become visible when something visible covered its surface. But there is no substance under the things with which I am clothed. I am hollow, and my structure of pleasures and ambitions has no foundation. You see, when we live from the false self, we're trying to make something unreal feel real, trying to give structure to something that is completely hollow. If you don't remember anything else, remember this. Don't try to become someone else. Return to who you already are in God. But here's the good news. Because of Christ, the story doesn't end in the broken circle. Isaiah 53:6 says, all we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. Do you hear that? We each have gone our own way, trying to find safety and pleasure or purpose all on our own. But here's the good news. Continues, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. You see, Jesus restores what we broke. And even more, you're not just restored to what you were, you're invited into something greater, union with God. See, in Jesus' prayer before his death, called his high priestly prayer, he prays for this. He says, that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they also may be in us. So we're not just walking with him, we're living in him. And this is where we begin to rediscover who we really are. Henri Nouwen puts it this way. He says, being the beloved constitutes the core truth of our existence. Not what you do, not what you achieve, not what others think, but beloved. That is who you are. The invitation we've been given, the core truth of your existence. And now we live in this space. Every moment we have a choice. Will I curve inward or will I open? Will I live from the false self or from union with God? So this week, try this. When you feel triggered, when you feel anxious and defensive or driven, just name it. Just call it out and say, this is my false self trying to protect me. So no shame, no judgment, just awareness. Because you see, awareness begins to loosen its grip. And then throughout your day, pause and ask, which circle am I living in right now? The small one, the curved in and holding and striving? Or the larger one, open and receiving and connected? And then if you need to, gently step back into the larger circle. God always welcomes us back. If you want help actually practicing this, I put together a 30-day guided journal. It's just a simple way to slow down, to notice these patterns and begin returning to who you already are in God. You can get the first 7 days for free with the link below. Remember, don't try to become someone else. Return to who you already are in God. Don't become, but rather return. You are the beloved, the one God loves. Live from there. So if much of our life is being lived out of this false self, the question becomes, well, what is fueling it? What keeps it alive? What keeps it strong? Because it's not just there by accident. It's being reinforced moment by moment by the things we reach for, the things we trust, the things we love. At the deepest level, this is about desire. And if we don't understand our desires, we'll never understand why we feel so stuck. So in the next video, I want to take you there, to the hidden engine of your spiritual life.